them are running in. We're pulling weight, but we know the dream. Oh. We on point, oh boy. We're balling international. No time, baby. You got to know we are the guys.
Welcome again. It's a Monday today. Okay, let's go through with the intro. I'm Black's original Niger chick. I make lifestyle, straight talking videos, anything that interests me really. I also do commentary on viral videos and food recipes, science and stuff, everything. Lately, I've been inspired by, there's a lady called Bailey Saren. She does this stories every Mondays or so about murders, and she got me interested in doing the video about murders, and serial killing. And I've been interested in that. If you go to my book collections, most of them are about thrillers and murders, and I've always been interested in that. And I was like, okay, why not bring that into my channel where I tell you guys the most prolific serial killers and murder mysteries and death, and I'll also dive into conspiracy theories and paranormal. Just stay with this channel. I will bring you all things fun. So today I'm going to be talking about a serial killer who was a South African. Now it's quite rare to see serial killers, African serial killers, because in Africa really the documentation is quite poor. Yes, so it's quite fascinating to see that there are killers here in Africa, and some of them are, oh my god, some of them are horrible, really horrible. Yeah, so I'm going to be bringing you the story of Moses. I call him Moses Sithole, well deserved, but his name is Moses Sithole, and he's currently in prison. Thank God. I feel it's not enough for him to be alive and being taken care of while he's murdered like over 70 people, like he claimed. Moses Sithole is considered one of the most dangerous and prolific African serial killer. He was born on November 1964. He was born to Simon and Sophia Sithole. Now, his early life, it was said that he was poor. He was one of 5 children. He was one of 5 children. The father was unable to make ends meet. Like, they came from a really poor background. At 5 years old, he lost his dad, and his mom, left the children, took the children to a police station. 5 of them took them to a police station, and then took them to the orphanage. Now, in the orphanage, Sithole was known to be quite disturbed because stories had it that he was abused sexually, physically. I failed to mention that he was born in an area called Gauteng. It's called Gauteng now in South Africa. He became sexually aware at a really very early age, and the story has it that in the orphanage he was severely abused sexually and physically. So because of that abuse, he ran away from the orphanage 3 years later. At that time, his elder brother Patrick, there were 5 of them. I really did not get the name of the other 5 siblings, but it was recorded that his elder brother Patrick was living in Johannesburg, and he was working in a mine, a gold mine. So Moses joined his elder brother. Now, Moses was quite disturbed in his early age. I told you he was sexually active at a very early age. Now, because of that, he became perverted. He was now into raping the women he was with. So the first time he raped someone, he raped 2 women. On September 1987, Sithole raped a 29-year-old called Patricia Khumalo. Patricia Khumalo later testified in his trial in 1996, but the one that actually got him to prison was Doris Swakamisa. and she reported him to the police, and he was arrested. Although he maintained his innocence, that he didn't rape her, but he was sentenced to prison for 6 years. And yeah, he still maintained his innocence while in prison, telling people that he didn't actually rape the lady. But he was sentenced and released in 1993 for good behavior. Okay. Now, when he got out, he started a foundation because of his abuse. He started his foundation on abuse, teenagers, kids that were abused. So he started this foundation to help them. Now, this was where he started getting his victims. He said that he set out to take revenge against people who look like the lady Doris that accused him of raping her. So he set out to rape women, and because he has learned in prison that if you rape someone and the person dies, you don't really have to go to prison. No one is going to find out. No one is going to be there to testify against you. Hence the strangulation. Now, he's also named the ABC killer. Now, why they named him the ABC murderer is that he was murdering from, Atteridge Vale, books. Let me check the name. Hold on. Murdering from Atteridge Vale, Boxburg, and Cleveland. These were the locations, where he carried out all these murders. And also, the method of murdering the women, he likes to strangle them. Now, within 1993 to 1995, he actually got married to a woman who gave him 2 children. Between 93 to 95, that was when he killed over 30 people. The way he got his victims was he takes them to, he puts like an ad, for employment for his agency where he takes care of abused teens. And when these women, they come to him, he takes them to a remote place where he rapes them and murders them. Now, he's been doing that for years. He got away with it, murdering over 30 people. He got away with it to the extent that he had to call the police, and gave them details of the murders and, and gave them a tip-off of where to find these bodies. Where is my makeup? Could not find, the South African law enforcement could not find, the murderer. The law enforcement people couldn't find, what was murdering these women. Bodies were turning up left and right, so they couldn't find what was the cause of their murders. And he became cocky, and he sometimes would call the police and taunt them, and give them clues as to where to find the bodies. So bodies were turning up left, right, and center in that province. Within these 3 regions I've named, these ABC regions I've named, so bodies were turning up of women between the ages of 19 to 45. So he was killing, and police were able to gather that between that time he was released from prison in 1995, he had killed over 30 women. And it was the same method: rape them and strangle them. At some point, he was identified because 2 women who, in the investigation of 2 women who had left, to answer his call for employment, they found a letter that they were actually going to see him. So these 2 women wrote down his name, Moses Sithole, and they disappeared completely. And one of them, the body was found. One of them, the body hasn't been seen. But they've made the connection that these women disappeared while going to see him. So the police now have a clue that he's the one doing this stuff. They tried to catch him, and he eluded the police. He ran away and stayed for many years, until one day he took the phone again and called the police and told the police that he has a confession to make, that he's been the one murdering these people. So the police traced the call to somewhere in Johannesburg, and he was arrested. But before he was arrested, he came out with a machete. In Nigeria we call it machete. He came out with a machete to fight the police people. But there's another story that goes around that says it was his brother Patrick who alerted the police of his crimes, and the police came and cornered him, and he came out with a machete or hatchet to fight the police, and he was shot on the knee and on the stomach.
I believe he's stable. I believe he's not seriously injured. And I believe that he will be within the next week or two to come in a condition to be taken to an open court.
Now he was taken to hospital to get treated, and while he was in the hospital, they found out that this man was HIV positive. Of course, they took him for trial. He recanted his whole story of killing these women. Now, before we go to his imprisonment, let me tell you more about Mr. Sithole. Some people described him as handsome, well-mannered, soft-spoken, and it was really hard for people to believe that this kind of man was capable of murdering women. Now let's talk about his trials. And so when he was caught, he was then sentenced to 50 years imprisonment for each murders he carried out. So for 30 murders he carried out, even though he bragged that it was more than 30, that was up to 70 something. I'll put a screenshot of the names of the people he murdered up here or up here, I don't know, anywhere it is. So I'll put a screenshot there of people he murdered. But he received 50 years imprisonment for each murders. He received 10 years imprisonment for each rape, because he raped 40 people. Then he received 6 years imprisonment for each robbery, and he had 6 robberies. He will serve 953 years in prison without parole. So Mr. Sithole, or Mr. Shithole, like I call him, is currently in prison, and surprise, surprise, his wife he left here. His wife he left around has died of HIV because he gave them HIV, but he's still alive because ARV, according to South Africans, say ARV is not readily available for normal citizens, but they prefer to take care of citizens in the prison system. Hence, Mr. Sithole is hale and hearty in the prison. So that is the end of my story, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Hopefully every Monday I'll be able to bring you most prolific serial killers and murder mysteries every Mondays. So stick with me if you like such videos. Do not hesitate to subscribe. Click on the subscribe button, comment on the comment section, like and share this video. I'll see you guys when next I post. Toodaloo!